And there we are. We're
Oh,
live.
You're
Hey,
alive.
everybody.
hey.
Welcome to Blackjack Knights. Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I have no idea how many thousands of people are watching us, but welcome to this gathering. By the way, I got to remember to look up at the little camera there
Oh,
as
yeah.
opposed to all the pretty faces on my screen.
Right.
I'm Alex Simmons, creator, writer of Blackjack, I created Blackjack actually back in the 1980s. That's when I first came up with the idea for the story, and I started writing them. And the little bit of background I'll give you is that my first script was a New York adventure, which I then took it to a mentor of mine at that time, which was Dick Giordano at DC Comics, a sweetheart of a guy. Just he was very understanding and very helpful, and he looked at the script and he gave me some pointers on the script and tightened the script and everything. And then he said to me, I'm kind of curious. He says, you got a globe-trotting adventurer here. It's a black one. We've never seen this before, so you got a globe-trotting adventurer here. And his first adventure is in New York City, where he lives. He says it kind of defeats the theme. So he made me go back to the drawing board, and that's when I came up with Second Bite of the Cobra. So I got to thank Dick Giordano for that, for all the help and the insight, and for taking me seriously. He actually got Gene Colan to do some sketches of the character. I still have those drawings to this day. They're too large for me to show here, but I still have those. And if not, for Gene's guidance, who knows? I do feel I would have gone forward, but again, it's really good to have a good mentor in your life, and I'm sure the guys here online will agree with me. So anyway, got to produce Blackjack back in the day, and we'll do some story talking about that later, but let me introduce the other people here. So I'm going to go from my left to right. So on my left is Chris Ryan. Chris, wiggle your nose.
How are you?
Yes. By the way, Chris, I hope you're coming through. I'm gonna hit your face here so they get a close-up of you. There you go. Whoa! Wow, that's a big thing. You're just a little bit fuzzy, a little bit out of focus. I don't know if that's you're too close to the camera or that's the camera or whatever. I'm just letting you know. But Chris is really much prettier guy. Much prettier guy.
This is the way
Say
I
hello
look
to the
in
folks.
real life.
Oh, real life? Oh, it's a fuzzy.
Always been a little fuzzy.
On the face.
Always fuzzy.
Oh, by the way, folks, when you can, headphones, because otherwise you're gonna get echoes and feedback at times. So if anybody's got earplugs you can use, that's great. If not, too bad.
All right.
Oh, okay, so Chris, tell the folks a little bit about yourself, and then I'll segue into how you came into the Blackjack adventure.
Okay, well, I'm old friends with Alex Simmons. I met him right out of college, and I think I wrote a play for you. Billy Wizard and the Evil Eye was the first thing we did together. Nowadays, I write novels. As you can see, I have a collection of short stories, City of Sin, and an award-winning debut novel, City of Woe, and we're about to come out with the follow-up to that. I'm trying to get that for you now, and it's not here. I'll show you a little later, which would be City of Pain. It's a bit of a trilogy. New York detectives and that kind of stuff. It actually is a modern retelling of Dante's Divine Comedy. So we're putting it in an exciting New York setting, and I've been doing pretty well with it. And very, very soon I have some exciting news to share with Alex Simmons. We finished a project together. Alex, should I talk about that, or you want to talk about that?
Not now. We'll talk about that. We'll come to that. We'll come around to that.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so now you've met Chris. Quiet, Chris. Okay, so the next person to my right, and actually it sort of works out to Chris's right, no, that's Chris's left, is John Jennings.
Hey, how you doing? My name is John Jennings, as Alex just said. And,
so I got that right.
Yeah, you got that totally right. It was funny because I was expecting Scott to be next, so I was like, oh wait.
Well, I told you I'm going to move left to right, but I guess your left and right is different from mine.
But Scott's in my middle, so I was like, oh, he's going to go.
Scott's in my middle too.
Yeah, that's weird. Anyway, so John Jennings, I'm a professor of art and graphic design. I've been teaching for about 14, 15 years, maybe longer. I teach graphic design at the University at Buffalo in the Visual Studies program, but I'm also a comic scholar. I focus a lot on like the black identity in popular culture, so and particularly in comics. And I'm a curator. I write about identity in comics, and I also make a lot of images. And I've been doing some illustration work with Alex or for Alex on BLACKJACK for a while. Over just off and on over the last few years. Yeah, so there you go. The other thing too.
Yes,
wait
you
a minute.
have. Yeah, and we'll talk about that later.
Well, the other thing too, well, I guess we could talk about the cons later too, like the organization of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I get everybody introduced first, and then we'll sort of come back around and cover some other things.
So I'm drinking coffee.
Moving again to my right. Yeah, drink your coffee. Go right ahead. I have no coffee. No one brought me any coffee. I'll thank you guys for that. Scott, Hannah.
Hello. Hello. I am Scott Hanna. I'm actually, I guess, a professional comic book artist. I've been working in comics for 28. Actually, I guess this year it'll be 29 years. I'll be working in the field. Mostly I do inking. And I don't know how long I've known you, Alex, but it's been since last century. It was a century ago that I first met. And I think as soon as I heard about BLACKJACK, I was just enthralled because I've been a fan of the adventure genre, the pulps, the old movies, and just the whole concept to me, just attracted my attention immediately. And I haven't done very much with the character yet, but we've always got possibilities planned out for the future.
We got tons of possibilities. Yeah, absolutely.
Lots of good stuff to do. And also, I am a teacher as well.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, say that again, Scott.
In my spare time, which I don't have much of, I teach at the Arts and Fashion Institute, which I started with my wife. And actually, one of the drawings behind me is from my anatomy class. And I'm working for Marvel and DC constantly.
Wow.
That's good. Seriously, constantly. I think you're the only inker in the world, aren't you? Is that what I heard?
I think I don't know if this is accurate, but I've supposedly inked more pages of comic book art than anybody else alive.
What?
Wow.
Really? Like Guinness Book? Seriously? Wow.
Well, at least in this country, I don't know about like Japan, for instance.
Oh, yeah. I just thought about this. Well, yeah, that's awesome. Seriously. Also, so you said
again, I'm going to suggest, guys, again, if you can, get some headphones. Because when you start to talk together, it creates great delays. So maybe if you're not hearing into the room, it'll cut that down a bit. I'm still trying to figure out all the technology here, so bear with me. Because I don't have to keep muting people.
All right.
Okay, so let me just go back to Chris for a minute, and Chris, there you are. There's a loveliness of you. So you were saying, yeah. Okay. So you and I met years ago. I think it was in the '80s that we met. I was the artistic director of a children's theater company at the time, which was what was it called? What BCAY, Bronx Creative Arts for Youth. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you did write you wrote a couple of things for us then.
Right.
And
well, the first thing I wrote was because the woman who interviewed me didn't seem impressed with me. So
how could that happen?
So I wanted to impress her. So I asked her what she had most of out of the boxes and boxes of props, and she says, "We have all these hats we can't use." And I went and wrote a play over the weekend, just surrounding those hats, and that became Billy Wizard and the Evil Eye. And I don't know whether it ever impressed her, but it got your attention.
Well, yeah. Well, hey, a writer has to be an improv, expert in many ways. It is, thinking outside the box per se.
There you go.
And then Chris and I wound up not only working on a number of projects involving young people in the creative arts during those years before he moved from the Bronx to New Jersey, but that's okay. We still love you. But then, as the '90s came around and we started moving towards actually the end of the '90s, I was developing BLACKJACK as a project then, and we got to talking. And I'm really trying to remember at what point didn't you start working with us as a doing the PR, and then you did the comic strip.
We did PR. I did the second issue of Race Against Time. We went out to Chicago to promote at the Comic-Con there, and we were just I was just dragging people from the floor over to the booth. That was that was my publicity. Just grab people, bring them in, and then I got the chance to write a 12-part strip for, if you're ready, here we go, for the one and only Badass Mofo magazine. I dug it up. There it is, and it was Call to Duty. And if I remember correctly, I was the first one, other than you, to write Blackjack. Is that correct? Or was Bill maybe Bill in there?
Let me actually try and share. We're going to try this now again, folks. You know, we're a little tech challenged, but here we go. We're going to share. So theoretically, if share worked, you guys should see.
There he is. There you go.
Okay,
Sure.
I'm not seeing it, but I'm glad you are.
Eddie Newell and a little bit of James Brown action right there, Text Effects.
So that's Eddie Newell, who unfortunately wasn't able to join us. I sent out the word, but I didn't hear back. So he's in the wilderness, you know, battling some strange demons or hunting for gold, I'm sure. But yes, this is the wonderful work by Eddie. It was a black and white, and then we turned them over to Jay Brown, who was on the Facebook gathering right now. So at some point, if anybody wants to text him a message and let him know we're talking about him, hopefully you're watching, James. But either way, this was James's beauty of taking the black and white art and not only doing the coloring, but he also, if I remember right, did he do? Yeah, he did the lettering too.
Yep, I think so.
So he put this all together. So you did this and how many episodes was this, or installments?
12 strips. We got 3 panels per strip, so it was very tight writing, and we got to save a bunch of kids in that strip. That's
always good.
That was always good, yeah. So
yes, it's always good to save children in strips. Yeah.
That's right. But it was a fun time, and I eventually got to do a little more blackjack writing and introduce Cahill Ferguson. I got to contribute a character to the blackjack legend.
To the canon.
To the canon, yes. And that was big fun. I'm going to throw up another one.
I'm going to throw up another one from this. So I'm going to share another one of these. Keep talking. I'm just trying to get artwork up there.
Okay. Over the years, we've been mutually supportive of everyone's projects. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
There's some more.
Oh, nice.
Well done.
Yeah, James did some phenomenal work. I really wish we could involve him on the conversation, but you know, such is life. I'm also getting, by the way, while this is going on, I'm getting text messages from people telling me whether or not they can see things. You know? So that's always good. Okay, so this, I'm going to pull back from this a little bit. Again, I want to keep things moving just enough so that everybody gets a chance to talk, and then we're going to come back around to what else is going on. So I'm going to stop the share. Yes, he talks his way through the technology,
there you go.
So everybody knows it really clear. So, Chris, we'll come back to you in a moment. I want to go to Scott. We're going to skip over John and go to Scott because chronologically, this is where Scott comes in. Is also during those early days when we were doing Blackjack. And Scott, do you remember how you got involved?
I remember we had been talking, and you talked about the character, and then you, I think you were doing a pin-up book or something, or you needed some pin-ups for one of the issues, and you said, Scott, would you like to do a pin-up? And one of the first things I loved about was that, you know, usually Marvel and DC only want me to be an inker. They don't like me penciling as much because it takes away from my valuable inking time. So you immediately gave me the opening to do, and that's why I love smaller publishers, because I can do more of that. But you didn't even give me a subject, I don't think. You just said, okay, do Blackjack. And I was like, it was mind-blowing possibility. Oh wow, great! You know, black adventurer in the late mid to late 30s, pre-World War II. This is such a cool era. But the first thing that just popped into my brain was the Berlin Olympics. And as soon as I thought of that, the Jesse Owens story, I was like, that's a perfect place for Blackjack to be. It makes total sense. And Jesse Owens just made such a gigantic impact around the world for blacks and for Americans and anti-Nazi and everything. I just thought it was like the perfect situation for Blackjack, and so I came up with the piece. And I'm a big fan of old movies too, so I think I was watching Charlie Chan at the Olympics or something.
At the Olympics, right, 1936.
And they actually had a lot of footage of this big stadium and the banners, and so I was looking at that for the reference, and I just had a blast with it. So it was really good. And then you suggested after I did the piece that we should really do a whole story about this.
Well, there you go. See, I remembered it differently, so that's great. I'm glad you straightened me out. But do you see the image?
Yes, the image is up there.
Yeah.
Right?
Once again, James Brown coloring on a beautiful and very powerful piece of work that Scott did. And it was funny because, as Scott explained, most of us who knew Scott's work was always as inking. I remember you had done a number of things I'd seen at DC and Marvel. I think just before I approached you, you did some sort of a special storyline that involved Robin and the clone of Superboy.
Okay. Oh yeah, that was World's Finest. Yes.
Right. Okay. And it was right around that time that I said, "Wow, look at in order for him to be able to do this well as an inker, he has to know how to draw." And that was really sort of my thinking was, you're obviously not somebody who's just following the lines.
Yeah.
There was something that said, I'm embellishing. I'm really adding what I know to what has been established so that the audience gets the most dynamic effect from the visuals. So I remember asking about that and was thrilled that you were that enthusiastic about the concept.
Well, also, I started out as a penciler inker, and actually one of the first guys I met at DC Comics was Dick Giordano, who also was known mostly as an inker but did penciling as well. So I've had a lot of good people to follow from. Oh, we got a new dancing member in our group here.
We have a new dance. You know what? And I'm going to be the mean controller there, and because Tim's actually not due to join us for another 10-15 minutes, so at least we know he's there. So he's there. That's good. Thank you, Tim, for joining us. I know you can hear me. You can curse me out later. Okay. So Scott did that piece, and for a number of years I only had the black and white piece, and then James jumped in and did the coloring on it, which was again fantastic. And just to toot James's horn a little bit longer, not only did he do... Oh, look at Scott. Scott's showing he's ready to talk about where he...
I don't know if we want to get to this stage.
Get to that, you little stinker. I'm going to bring it back to me. Before we get to that, but you got that ready. That's good. Before we get to that, we're going to give John a chance to talk about some of the past work he did with BJ, and then we'll get into where things are now. Okay, so, John.
Yes.
Take it away.
All right. So I want to say I met Alex, let's see, how long has it been, Alex? Maybe like 5 years ago? Is that crazy? Maybe like 7. Something like that. How long have we known each other, actually?
John, it's amazing how I don't have any recollection of when I met you. I just remember meeting you, and it seemed like I met you through with Damien at an event somewhere. Was it when your book came out?
Oh,
no. That's it. Ekbach.
We met at Ekbach. Yeah. Because I was actually. Yeah. We were working on our first major show on diversity in comics, and we wanted to do a preview show on African American characters at Jackson State, and so I actually went to Ekbach looking for participants. So I was actually kind of scouting artists, and and I had never been to Ekbach, and which is the East Coast Black Age of Comics convention in Philly, right? And so what ended up happening is Alex and I met. We kind of hit it off. I showed him some of my work, and he ended up sending us a piece by Brian's, this beautiful cover to the as a Blood and Honor cover, right? By Brian Stelfreeze. Was in our comic.
Yeah, right. Oh, well, was it? Yes.
Yeah. And because you have the rights to it, so we actually printed it and ran it in our show. And I actually bought a copy of the graphic novel and fell in love with the character. Alex also wrote a piece for the catalog. Actually, I don't know if you remember that, for the Other Heroes catalog.
I remember it. Yeah. Okay. I ain't got paid for it neither, man. I want to talk to you about. Yeah. I'm sorry. No.
Man. Yeah. Academics, we don't get paid for anything except for like.
Oh, that's right. There's no money in money in education.
No money in teaching, man. Anyway,
say that again.
Seriously, no money in teaching. Anyway, yeah. So what ends up happening is I think a few Xbox later, I was talking to Alex and we were talking. I wanted to do something with the character, to do something with Aaron, and ended up working on the comic strip. Heart of Evil, and trying to get that up and running. And then after that, we started working on this series of images called BLACKJACK International, and I actually have some of those.
Oh, good. Show those. Yes, please.
Oh, yeah. If you wanted to, okay. Because I actually, I don't know when you wanted to actually directly deal with it, but I actually have some process images.
Well, yeah, you can. This is all your time, bro.
Okay, cool.
You could have been drawing. I don't know what's wrong with you.
No, I'm about to start. But I didn't know how we're gonna do these because let me see here.
I'm actually very impressed with how the technology is going here. I don't want to jinx anything.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the first piece that I did for the BLACKJACK International thing. Let me see. Is it sharing? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so it was this. And this was for Second Bite of the Cobra, actually. So that the idea was that we do these kind of iconic images for the various stories. And let's see, I think I have like here's one of the process images for it, which I actually like a lot too because it still has that
it's that the sepia feel to it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it feels like an old piece. So we're trying to do these like distant locales, and this was a lot of fun to do. And let me see here. I have the sketch for the Blood and Honor. It's a really, really, really rough sketch. Because a lot of times what I do is I really go through this really fast and show Alex what I was thinking about, and then I would go to the actual drawing, which would be something like that, and of course I do like. It
looks a little like woodcut.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good eye. My process is actually the reverse. Like and of course, like Scott being an inker knows the term, spotting your blacks. So I do the reverse.
Hey! Oh, you didn't mean it that way. I'm sorry.
Hey, black.
You got enough trouble. Okay.
Stop it. I can't take it anywhere.
I will not.
Anywhere. Anyway, so so what I do is I do the reverse. I spot my whites because my mentor is a woodcut artist, and so I used to do like a lot of intaglio stuff, a lot of like woodblock printing, and of course I don't have time to do that, but I really like that aesthetic, and so a lot of times when people see my work, they're thinking, oh, it's a litho, it's a woodblock, that kind of thing, and so my hand has that kind of feel to it. So yeah, that's where I get that particular style from. Let's see. Most recently, I did this piece that was a cover for, or which one was it? It was Buried Secrets, right, Alex?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, Chris is posting some of the images on the Facebook Hangout. So, Chris, thank you. Beautiful. Oh, good work.
Hey, anything for you, brother.
Well, yeah.
The turnaround for this was really crazed. I don't know. I think I might have did it in a couple of hours. I mean, Alex needed someone to do a cover for the piece, and I had a couple of hours free, so I like.
Yeah, it's funny that story. Don't take that image off for a moment, but okay. I just want to say that story is one of those weird situations where, Joe Bennett, who I will show some of his work momentarily. Joe Bennett was the first artist to do the Blackjack stories. He did Second Bite of the Cobra, and he did Blood and Honor. No, I'm sorry, he did Second Bite of the Cobra, a 3-issue miniseries. And Joe had also done a cover piece for this, because I was planning to write this story 10 years ago. So he did this wonderful cover piece for it, and I know it was sent to me. I had for years this copy in a digital file that I would refer to from time to time, and think that, you know, one of these days I'm going to get this up there and it's going to happen and it's going to be great. And for some odd reason, never noticed until we were ready to actually go to press that it was a low res, and nobody knew where the high res was. It had literally vanished. So I called. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you the image. I called John in a panic, you know. And hang on, I'm going to share the image here. I called John in a panic, and I think, John, you were getting ready to fly somewhere?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. The next day, the very next day, he was leaving town. He was flying from Buffalo to the West Coast or someplace like that.
Oh, yeah.
And so I called him, and I said, you know, I'm in a hole here. You know, can you recommend anything? Do you think maybe with Photoshop we can do anything to boost this? And John basically said, no, you stop, brother. You know, that's your problem. No, he did what he said he did was somehow in I don't know how many hours he came up with the concept, and he basically, you know, he gave homage to Joe here, and he kept the thematic aspect of it, but he was able to create that really dynamic cover that he did in a few hours before he went and got on a plane and flew wherever the heck you were going. So we went from this, you know, to this.
Right.
You know, and that, you know, that says something there. Again, I'm being talkative, but that says something for the quality of the team of people I've been blessed to work with over the years. The early team of Jay Brown, Chris Ryan, Bill McKay, Elizabeth Sheehan, myself, a couple of other folks. We all came together and we did our best. And I've been really blessed to keep finding good people throughout the years who have managed to make this, you know, what it is, the success, or at least the really nice experience that it's been. So, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go forth and be brilliant.
No, okay. Yeah, I just have a few other things to show. I had, let's see, some process pieces. While I was working on, let's see, this cover, like this actually has like the pieces of the separate illustrations before I started like kind of messing around with it, you know. So I'm kind of so you can actually see the individual drawings, and so I started like compositing the posters. I always thought that was pretty cool. The finished piece ended up looking more like this, and then let's see here. Oh, by the way, it's a funny story about this. I was trying to find the right reference for this, and I was like trying to take a picture of myself. And so what I did is I emailed my younger brother Sadiq, who lives in Utah, and I said, Sadiq, can you do a pose like this? I kind of quickly sketched out what I was looking for, and I said, I need you to look like this. And so he actually took a picture of himself in that position. What he did is he took like a piece of newspaper and he balled it, looked kind of like a torch, you know. So it was. Oh. Yeah. So I actually drew from that image. I was trying to find the original photo, but I couldn't find it anywhere. But yeah, but that's actually. I actually got a chance to pose them, and it was pretty cool, and it turned out pretty awesome. And
where did you get the pretty girl? I mean, who do you know? I mean, you can tell us.
I know pretty. I forgot where she came from, honestly.
Okay, fine. Be like that. All right.
This was an alternative one that actually has the background kind of like with a color hold on it. I was just kind of playing around with variations of it, but I decided to go. Actually, I showed these to my students. I was like, which one of these would you use? And they were like, oh, let's go with this one. That one is the one I think we used. Yeah,
that was bold.
Right.
I hope the folks watching this are enjoying it.
Then it's like really cool, like details, like Henri. You know, you don't really see it on the poster, but I really love the textures and stuff they were able to get on that. And let me see here. And of course, like I want to actually rework this piece into like a T-shirt or something. You know, maybe.
Ooh, yes. And that's the one. For hard, no, what was that? For
Yeah, it is.
It was Heart of Evil, yes, right. Which
So
story
the fi-
takes place starts in Paris.
Right. So it ends up looking kind of like that. So, but anyway, so those are some of the pieces. Here's like a drawing of Blackjack. I need to color eventually. That I've had this for like I think a year, and the first time that Alex saw it was like the other day, like yesterday when I pulled it up. So.
Quiet as it's kept, yeah. But you know, the other thing about that too is I mentioned this to Scott, and I'm now going to turn it over to Scott in a second here. I said to you that there was this the sketches that he did for the cover that he wound up doing for Dover publication for the reprint of Second Bite of the Cobra. Some of the sketches have that great pulp, black and white energy sort of that, you know, would love to maybe print them in a story as black and white. So this has that feeling too. Oh, this is the first poster you did for Blackjack.
Yeah, exactly. So
right.
Those are some of my favorite pieces. I actually have a lot of Blackjack drawings because of working on the series, but also I do sketch them from time to time, and sometimes they don't turn out as great as I want them, but I do have like a lot of drawings of them. And speaking of which, before we turn over to Scott, I'm gonna go ahead and start working on. I did a really quick sketch that I'm gonna just work on. That I want to just work on during
while we're here. Okay, cool. Yeah, exactly. All right, so Scott.
Yes.
There you are. Thank you, sir. So Scott, we had the lovely image of you doing, you know, that you did of the Olympics and Blackjack there and Jesse Owens and all that, and then we stayed in touch for years. We would talk periodically, you know, sometimes 2 years or 3 years would go by, and then this wonderful opportunity came up for you to work with me and Dover and to do this cover. So did you set up some images or should I show them?
I've got some of the beginning stuff, like the rough sketches and the pencils, inks, and colors.
And I have the other
want to
stuff.
do it while I talk?
Why don't you take it away?
Vice versa. Okay. Okay. So actually, well, one of the cool things too is that I had just been working recently with Joe Bennett, and so on Iron Man for Marvel. So the fact that I got to do the cover of the interior work by Joe Bennett was a real kind of pseudo collaboration too. So I definitely tried to work off of what he dealt with, but I was also really, you know, I wanted to go back to the pulp feel of the character in the time period. So I started doing a bunch of these black and white sketches for you of different variations of the covers. This was one of this definitely had that Doc Savage type of feel to it, except Doc Savage doesn't usually carry a gun. But obviously this is a very rough sketch, but this is what I was giving you and Drew as, you know, for editorial ideas. And I actually had quite a few of them, but I think I'm only going to show. Sorry, I haven't figured out how to like do this stuff the right way here. This one was actually the closer one to what we turned into the actual cover, because we decided we wanted Miriam in the cover. We wanted more of a front view with Blackjack in the front. I like the giant snake because we've got the cobra. Even though the cobra is not a giant snake, the giant snake only shows up in the dream image, I think. In the story, really.
Go ahead. Just ruin the story for everybody now, Scott. Thanks very much.
No,
just keep giving away stuff. Go ahead.
Isn't that about to be published?
The great thing about doing the cover sketches is you usually do several sketches with the intent that the editors will take the bits and pieces they like from each image and say, we want to do this final version. So what ended up happening for the, hold on a second. So for the final sketch, we decided to combine elements from, I think, 4 different cover sketches. And I was coming up, where's my pencil one? Okay, I don't have the rough pencils, but I do have, when I finally did the pencil drawing, that then combined the large image of the actual Cobra character in the background the giant snake image. It's got Aaron in the front and Miriam in the back. So, and also one of the other things is we wanted to make sure the pistol was in Aaron's hand because that's a trademark weapon of his. So this was the compilation of I think I ended up doing like 7 different sketches for you. But it was a blast. It was really, I love the art of collaboration, that we get to work with each other and grow things out of it. It's not just, oh yeah, I like that and go from there. I didn't have John's thing of I got to do whatever I wanted in 2 hours. You know? But anyway, so, and then I actually did want to paint this originally, but I kind of chickened out and I decided I was going to do an ink version straight in ink or in paint, which I was
Do you have the ink
thinking.
version? 'Cause I have it.
So yeah, that'll be up in 1 second.
Okay, fine.
So this is actually the ink version,
It's beautiful.
and and this is obviously my area of expertise. So I had a blast with it. It's just so fun to draw giant snakes, swords, guns, hooded bad guy in the background. It's got all those things you love about a story, and that's what cover should be that. So all those things really helped work together to come up with the black and white image. But Alex, what was the one thing you said I had to watch out for that?
The dynamic head. Scott, your inking was so, I mean, as everybody saw, so powerful. The inking was so powerful that really my eyes, and I thought, again, the audience eyes would be drawn to the giant face, and then the snake, and then those 2 figures in front.
Exactly.
So I was really, I just wanted you to be cautious when you did the coloring that the face receded to the background so that the images in front popped, and we knew that the book was about Blackjack, this guy in front, and his associate, and not that magnificent head floating in the background.
Exactly, and
so
and that was
worked out.
That was excellent advice. It's, again, you want to pay attention to the smart people you get to work with.
Yep.
So I actually listened to that. I had actually done several.
Something extra in your envelope.
So
anyway, I'm sorry, let me
this was
get to that there. So that's the finish.
Yeah. So this is the finished piece, and again, it was just a blast to work with. The weird thing is, like John was saying, I actually did use a model to pose for me very briefly for Blackjack, but it was my nephew, who doesn't look anything like the right character. But he gave me the pose to work off of, and then a lot of it I actually pieced together and out of my head and from various references and stuff. But it was definitely a wonderful experience. I love the character, and I'm just really happy to be participating. I did want to show one other thing that's
okay, and because
cool,
we also got other people joining us, like Tim Fielder,
excellent.
Sheehan, and some others. No, I'm just letting you know. I'm going to kick you off.
I'm actually also right now I'm working for DC Comics on Future's End, and I got to do there's a page with Cyborg on it, who's also another really strong black character who's getting a lot more prominence than he used to have, which I'm really proud of.
That's awesome.
So
great,
this one,
great.
The penciler is Scott Eaton, and I'm only doing the inking on this one.
Well, we'll fix that in time. But let me switch over for a moment here. I just want to, while we're talking, show John's process. So he took that original black and white drawing that we saw, and he's been working on it while we've been talking. And you can see, if you watch for a bit, you'll see the little strokes and see what he's doing.
And I do like how he's working in the white. He's pulling out the white from the dark, like you said, very much like woodcut. It's very cool.
Right, exactly. That's what gives it that piece. I don't know. It's to me, it speeds up the process too. But I guess because I've been working this way though, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, I know that at one point I had some of John's artwork, and it was going to be the possibility. No, actually, I had someone else's artwork, and there was this possibility that I was going to have to try and do the coloring, which really is not my expertise at all. And I called John, and I said, John, look, the coloring on this project needs to match up the stuff that you were doing, so can you tell me how you do that? And he did. And it all made perfect sense. Really did. Logically, I knew exactly what he was saying. And I knew also there was no way in heck I was going to be able to do it. You know? So I put that whole thing to the side. It's okay, never mind, you know. Because what you guys do is skill and hours upon decades of practice and a commitment to the work. And again, whatever success I've had with the character has been because of people like yourselves putting that kind of talent and skill and commitment to a job for an indie, as that you also give to the big dogs, as the phrase goes. So I tremendously appreciate that. I want to segue into a couple of other people who have joined us, and I'm not going to say anybody has to leave. I'm just going to refocus. I see that right now I have Tim.
Hey,
Tim, I see Tim, and I see Tim's bicycles, and I see that you're. Oh, and I got Tim. Is there any way you can get a little bit closer?
Yeah. Well, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can definitely hear you. It's like I'm talking to you through the fog. Watson, are you there?
Okay, so let me hook up my headset here, and I'll see if I can hear you a little bit better that way. I can't get closer because my Cintiq is here, and my monitor is right there. And if I shift everything falls over. So
okay, well,
I'm going to look at the screen.
Okay, so while you're putting on your head, putting on your head, do you have a photograph of yourself?
What?
No, seriously. Put up a photograph of yourself at some point so we get a better image of what you look like.
Okay.
Now,
let me move.
Right now, to me, it looks like you're wearing one of those stocking masks over your face. It's really fuzzy. Your face is really fuzzy. You're a nice-looking guy. I want people to know that.
Can I put this headset in? No, you said you guys can hear me. Okay, that's good.
No, you can. Oh, the headset is good for you, and so you don't get feedback.
Okay. Well, I'm okay.
Okay.
It's been perfect the whole time I've been hearing you.
Okay, all right. Well, let me try. I seem to have. Where's Liz? Oh, there she is. Her mic seems to be off.
Yeah, you turned it off.
Hi, Liz.
You tried to silence me. Hello.
Yeah, I succeeded. Liz, we're not seeing your face, though. Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi. Hi. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody watching, this is Elizabeth Sheehan. Elizabeth Sheehan is a graphic designer. Well, first off, she's my friend for many moons. We won't talk about how many moons, but there are quite a few. Yes, we used to cook by the fire, and build huts. But Liz and I have known each other a number of years. She became a graphic designer who worked for a number of companies and corporations, publishers, Simon & Schuster, and you call out a few.
Penguin.
Yeah.
Hardcore Brace. I'm trying to think. Valentine Books.
Mega Books,
right? How can I forget them? If Pat's listening.
Don't try. Yeah. You also for some other companies, like I want to mention the liquor one.
Oh, I did some work with Seagram's when I worked at a company called Chartmakers, but I've done a lot of freelance work with not-for-profits. I'm trying to, the names don't come to me right now, but quite a lot. I even recently worked for FEMA, so I've gone as far as the federal government. So it's been a wide range of different companies and corporations that I've kind of partnered with over the many years.
Yeah, Liz is the funny thing about, and folks need to understand that a graphic designer, a lot of people think that one individual, where's my face? There's my face. A lot of people think that one individual does everything in a comic book. They write the book, they then come up with all the lettering and the coloring and everything else that goes with it, not understanding until it's pointed out that a graphic designer's job is to create logos, to lay out the books into editorial pages and things in a way that is pleasing to the eye. So, one of the things that I'm thankful to Liz for over the years is, again, her commitment to the projects, and we wouldn't have had some of the wonderful things that we had in terms of the pages, not only for Blackjack, but also for, and I just lost the images I was looking for, but also for
Race Against Time. And
Race Against Time, right? There's just so many things that you've done, and I want to say I'm tremendously thankful for that. I'm going to also throw something up later in a moment, but I'm going to give Tim. Tim, are you set up now?
Yes, I am set up. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they can hear you. I'm going to Scott. Are you there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay. I'm gonna try and pull in one more person. So while I'm doing that, Chris.
Yes.
Hey, Chris.
He's still there too. Good. Okay. So we still have a team. Let's see what John's doing while I'm pulling up something. There's John. Oh, look where he is now. John, are you still there? Speak to us.
I'm here. I'm just focused.
So what are you doing right now? Where are you in the process?
I'm at the point where I'm about to start coloring. I just forgot to put like some little patterning in his scarf, So that's where I'm at. I'm just kind of going in and putting in just a generic kind of pattern for texture. And yeah, so what I just did was after I finished doing the finding the whites in the color, I just upped the contrast of the image by changing the levels of it, so it became just a stark black and white image. And so now I'm getting ready to color. So that's where I am.
Okay. Thank you so much. You're such a good soul.
So are you, man. So are you.
Oh, shucks. Okay, so now we're going to go to Tim.
Hey.
Hey, Tim. So, Tim Fielder, tell us who you are and what you do and why you do it.
Okay, my name is Tim Fielder. I am I guess I'm a cartoonist now. I was in the industry back in the 80s and 90s and survived, or at least like a lot of guys who were in the industry at that time. I made the transition out of comics, worked for Marvel and Eclipse Comics, and that was an interesting experience. But then I transitioned into video games, and I did that briefly and raised my kids and worked on some animation, which kicked my butt up till earlier this year. And I decided about a year ago that I would approach Alex about doing BLACKJACK, because I always thought it was a very cool character. I have my own character that's kind of quasi-based in a similar time vibe. And I like BLACKJACK because, here's this Brock Peters, Jim Brown-esque type character, and that's one. And then two, Alex is an incredibly nice guy, and we well, we also had an experience. We both were cartooning teachers at one point for the Children's Arts Carnival in Harlem.
Right.
And, Alex graciously gave me the opportunity to work on BLACKJACK. And it was I'm still doing some tweaking on Maddie's Rocket. It goes out to the printer like tomorrow. But the BLACKJACK I finished last month. It's the first comic I've finished in worked on actually in 15 years. So it's been an interesting experience getting back to it, and that's who I am. That's what I do, and I've just started my own company called Diesel Funk, which Alex will be sharing the table with me under Diesel Funk at the Schomburg Black Comic Book Day on the 17th of January, and that's what it is. That's who I am. Yep.
Okay. So did you have something that you were going to show us? Because I thought you.
Yeah, I can. I'm going to show you my desktop here, if you guys don't mind. Okay, so we got screen share. You guys see what's? I guess I'll do the entire screen here. You guys see that? You guys can see my desktop, right?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to just go to Bridge. Oh yeah, I know you guys. Hey, I know what you mean.
There we go. Yeah, how many? Okay. I was like, no, I see one.
Let's go here to Bridge, because Bridge is pretty much the application I use to just do all of my asset management and so on and so forth. We'll go to the BLACKJACK folder here, and I tend to keep all of my stuff referenced, as you can see here. This is Brock Peters and different things. I did tons of screen captures from the Bond movies, because Blackjack is very much that kind of green Technicolor type feel. I also use 3D models extensively. I love to draw, but not that much. So I borrow. Well, actually, it's not. It's actually legal. I take models off of.
That piece. That's a great piece.
Oh yeah, that's John. That's John. I was studying his reductive ink style, and I'll just keep going through this. This is an Aaron swatch, by the way, for the story I worked on. This is the first major image that was colored from Goliath.
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Wow, something about a browser shutdown. I suddenly was gone.
Oh.
Oh, you're back there, right?
Yeah, I'm back. It's just a question of how many others are back.
We're all here.
Everyone's
I'm
here.
here.
We're all together again. We're here. We're here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Tim. Sorry about that, folks. Technology is a challenge. So Tim, you still there?
Yes. Can you see my screen?
I can see your. I can see Liz on your screen. I can now see
I
your
don't know
screen.
how I got there. It's like,
Alex.
Yes.
Yeah, don't worry about them. They were doing fine without you.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
So,
Keep going.
That was my
Alex will
control
catch
man
up.
there saying, okay, thank you.
So, I'm a hybrid artist, and I tend to use all different types of techniques. I use 3D models. Here, this is actually Aaron here, 3D models that I use to do facial animation here, and just trying to experiment with how he might look. End up not using it that tight, but it was something. This book has been a re-education in terms of how to color, how to ink. It's been so long since I've done it. You know, I could use models. Some of them I used, some of them I didn't. These are sketches and different things here of how I work. My breakdowns, ultimately, I'm skipping past a lot of this right here because I can't show you everything. I know, Alex. I'm just skipping past it very, very quick. These are all the breakdowns. I'll just go through it very quick.
Wow, those are great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm going from here to this, and I'll move very fast.
Whoa, slow down. I can't take any pictures.
So this is I guess the cover. I guess there's a little bit more tweaking we need to do on the cover. I was I forget who it was who was speaking. I think was it Scott who was trying to do the James Bama-esque type thing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That was a total inspiration.
Bama's great, man. That guy's he's a master. And I'm just trying to do something that's very much influenced by James Bama and Leyendecker, with a little spicing of Chaikin thrown in there. So that's what I'm doing, and again, this is the first time I've gotten back to it. This is the script that Alex sent me here, and so I literally took that script, which was written like a novel, and basically did the breakdowns, and it was very good. And,
Tim, go back to the two-gun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That was actually done on an iPad using Procreate software. I don't necessarily find
Jamal Igle.
iPad.
Yeah, Jamal has joined us, but yeah, let Tim finish. But Jamal,
Jamal, how's it going, man?
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, everything's all right. So yeah, you know, when I'm painting, the thing is the iPad it was fun, but I would just do it over instead under my own because I just got a Cintiq hybrid, and that's what I'll be using to do this more mobile work. So anyway, that's what I'm doing now, and I just did this last image here that I posted today, and I had to tweak it a little bit. Thank God for Liquify and Photoshop. But Blackjack Goliath Must Die is done. It has been delivered to Alex, and Alex only lost part of his hair.
you've got to put up at least one page. You got to show at least one of the pages.
All right, man. I was trying to skip over that, man. I'm trying not to.
No. Don't even. Just pick a page that you want to show, because. Damn.
Okay,
so I'll do it this way. The scene where he's running to the dock. Okay, so that's nice.
You want that one?
The scene, that's fine. That one's good. And one just before that.
This one?
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. So you go from that to the one that you just had, right? Okay. So those are two that I like. Also, there's the shot when he's in the house, and I think it's the third panel. So it's a very close up of his face.
Oh, you're talking about this one?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, what I'm doing here is
I'm sorry. Go back. You just dropped it out. There you go. Thank you.
Well, I just opened up Photoshop. So basically, what's happening is I'm just using hue and saturation, and you see everything is layered and stuff. Oh, by the way, how many people use B-Pelt?
What is that?
B-Pelt is this plugin that makes flatting so much easier for just that type of work. I really love it, and I would definitely recommend anyone use it.
What's it called again?
It's called B-Pelt. And it basically takes
Spell
your...
it.
Huh?
Spell it.
Or type it into the chat.
B-P-E-L-T. I have the link, but I don't, I don't want to hog up your time and stuff. But
Okay, I'll check it.
yeah, but it's called B-Pelt, and it's great. They have a free variant. But if you get, it's multi-fill, and there's another one called, it's 2 plugins, and it's great. It makes coloring so much easier because you remember, Alex, I was having heart attack trying to color this thing initially.
Yeah, and I didn't care. No.
No, let's not try to hide that. Alex definitely didn't care. He was like, well,
I think what Tim is alluding to here, folks,
both of them ganged up on me, man. It was totally unfair. Anyway.
Yeah, but that's life. You knew the job was dangerous when you took it. What Tim is alluding to, basically, Tim, give me a chance here.
Okay.
What Tim is alluding to is the fact that, and this has happened a lot in the business. You know, we try and make a living doing this. You know, all of us here, this is how we're trying to make our living. So there are times when we want to commit to a project because we feel the project is great and we want to be involved, but then we also got to make money, and sometimes it conflicts. There's a conflict. There's not enough time to do both. And so the thing that you're doing for the love of it or to help someone out, the time on that stretches out to become sometimes problematic. So, you know, there was some of that, and as I said, we've all run into it, but the end result is really beautiful, and I'm really glad for that. I just want to take a quick moment here, Tim, and we'll come back to you, to say hi to my little brother, who's standing looking so severe. It's like, what the hell am I doing here? Yeah.
No, it's the all the machinations that I had to go through to get here in the first place.
All right, now,
severity.
Do I have you turned down or something? I for some odd reason I don't see your control here, so I don't know if I don't have your mic up high enough.
No, the problem is I am on my iPhone.
Oh wow.
Okay.
The only way that I was able to get on because there's a service outage in my area.
Oh, God.
Thanks.
So,
okay.
Which goes to show how much I love you. So,
I have introduced this man as my little brother for years. I will continue to do that. I expect you to continue to say that after I'm long gone.
Oh, of course.
But no, Jamal is again a member of. To everybody listening, Jamal is a member of again the original team, because when we started doing Blackjack back in the late '90s. Jamal was what? You were 20, 19, something in that area?
When I was doing Blackjack, I was 24, 25, something like that.
He was a wee lad.
Yeah.
But did you do Race Against Time before that, right?
Yes, I did.
Right. So when we started working with Jamal, here, I'm going to help you out because you blur out a little. I'll do this for now. I'll talk for a moment and I'll cut back to you.
Okay.
When we started working with Jamal, it was on a series called Race Against Time, and I'll find some images and pop those up in a moment. But Jamal was working, I think you were working with Billy Tucci.
Right.
You were working on some, right. And he was doing other work, and he was doing some work for other companies. And the thing that I saw about Jamal's work, which to this day I love, is Jamal's characters are people who happen to be in these phenomenal situations. He works really hard on giving them genuine expressions. In some cases, the characters have a body weight and mass that you can connect to. You get, I see where the clothing does this and the body does that. So there was a really great human element to his drawing. And so we were doing a series at that time that my friend Pat Fortunato had created as a series of middle grade adventure books. And she and I worked out a deal where we were able to do the comic book adaptation. And Chris Ryan wrote issue 2,
Yes,
I wrote
did.
issue 1, and Bill McKay wrote issue 3
Right.
of a series called Race Against Time. And Jamal was our illustrator on all three books, and it was some phenomenal stuff. As I said, while other people are talking, I'm sorry, what, Chris?
I'd like to just add in that Jamal, we had one meeting, I think, at our house, and Jamal met my infants at the time, who are now sophomores in college, and worked them into the background of the panel, and I've always loved them ever since. And my beautiful wife, too. Fantastic. Thanks again for that, Jamal. I was a hero for years.
That's awesome.
You know, it's funny. It's funny how that hero thing works, Chris. Because Chris is one of Chris's 2 wonderful sons is my godchild.
That's right.
And one of my heroes in comics years ago was Neil Adams. And I met him when I was a young guy, and years go by, and I would not see him for like 5-6 years, or sometimes longer at conventions. And I ran into him a couple of times, and he knew me, and we talked. And then again, year or so goes by. Chris goes to one of the conventions with your young son, and can you tell that story quickly?
Well, I mean, we've actually gone about 7 of them, and we always stop by and see Neil. So the very first time, Tyler was maybe up to my hip. He's a big Robin fan and all that. We were going around, and we saw Neil, and I introduced him, and Neil was Neil. And I said, and this is Alex Simmons' godson. God bless Neil. He treated my son like gold, and it has continued that we probably see him once every year, every 2 years, and I don't think he remembers us from time to time, but all you got to do is mention that Alex Simmons name. There you go.
So we have Jamal here, and then I'm going to switch over here, and we have Liz, okay, and Jamal, Liz, Chris. Again, unfortunately, Bill McKay in here. Next time I'm going to have to get a photograph of Bill and throw it up there. Just say, this is what Bill looks like. But this was the original team in the late 90s working on this series. And then we've moved forward over the years. Jamal saved my can when we were doing Blood and Honor, because the original artist did book 1 and 2 of Blood and Honor. And we were going to do it as individual issues, if you may remember, Jamal. We were doing individual issues, and then it didn't work out to move on to issue 3. We had time crunch problems and so forth, and people's schedules weren't working out. And I was really thinking, I'm lost. How am I going to finish the book? And we wanted to do it as a graphic novel, but at that point, for marketing reasons. And I turned to Jamal, and I said, Jamal, what am I going to do? And he says, well, you could ask me to draw it. And I went, yeah, I could. And I said, but do you have time and everything? Because he was doing a lot more work by that point, and he made it happen. And you really, book 2 and 3. I'm sorry, 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Is we have it because you jumped in there and covered it.
Yeah.
And
4 was the hard one because that's when I was in Los Angeles working at Sony. So I was working at Sony during the day and coming home and drawing the book at night.
Yeah. Let me, because again, your volume is kind of low. Let me just help folks. Jamal worked on book 3. He then moved to L.A. Because there was some interesting things happening here, but there was more opportunity there. And you went out there and you worked. You did some storyboarding for Men in Black, the animated series, right?
No, I worked on Starship Troopers, and then I worked on Max Steel. So those are 2 shows.
Max. Which version of Max Steel? The original one or the newer one?
The original one. The
original. See, that was my favorite. That was my favorite. Yeah. So he's out in Los Angeles trying to establish a house, home rather, and working for these studios. And then you were coming home and working on Blackjack, in your evening hours. But he's back in New York now, so we're all happier. We're much happier. and you've got your own creations, which we're going to get to in a minute. You know what? The wonderful thing is I've noticed what time it is. It's 8:35, and nothing says I have to stop. But I do want to just sort of give folks a chance to either, you know, if they have to depart. But here's John's finished. Are you still there, John, or did you just leave that and sneak off?
Yeah, I'm actually still fiddling. I'm fiddling around, but yeah, this is where we are.
Excellent work, John.
Thanks, guy. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. This is something else. In the small window, when we're not focused on you, I'm sure some people could see the process. I truly hope that we captured some of this, because this is being recorded, by the way, for posterior. No, that's the other thing. Yeah, for posterity, obviously. And so, you know, this is the kind of work that John has been doing, and he worked on a Blackjack comic strip for a while. He did the posters, and I know there's some other things that are going on. And John, you're going to be at the Black Comic Book Festival at the Schomburg.
That's correct. I'm actually one of the founders of the Comic Arts Festival there, along with Jonathan Gales, Deirdre Holman, and Jerry Kraft. And this is our third year at the Schomburg, the historic Schomburg Center for Black Culture, research in Black culture. And I'm also this year jumping off a Black Comics Art Festival on the West Coast simultaneously. So what's going to happen is I get into town on the 16th. We're going to do the Black Comic Book Festival at the Schomburg on that Saturday, the 17th. I'm going to jump on a plane. I'm going to fly to San Francisco, and we're going to jump off the Black Comic Arts Festival. And Tim is insane because he's going too, so he's going to do both cons. And so yeah, so this is going to be a bi-coastal Black independent comics kind of like weekend. It's all MLK weekend. So yeah, I'll be there. Actually, I'm doing a panel on publishing, and Tim, and I haven't talked to Tim about this yet, but
what do you know about publishing?
Oh, what do I know about publishing? Lots.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist.
Too much about publishing. Anyway, yeah, and so y'all be there, and I'll be there with my publisher, Bill Campbell, who has a company called Rosarium, and he's going to be there. You're going to have a table there, and I'll be, running around like a crazy person. So it should be a lot of fun. And if I survive the trip, I'll probably I'll be sure I have like a lot to report from the West Coast too. So.
Right. So Jamal, are you going to be at the Schomburg this year?
No, I won't be at the Schomburg this year. I'm not doing any conventions until April.
Oh, he's so lucky.
Oh, okay.
Because I did too
when
many
in April, by the way? Where are you going to be?
I did too many conventions last year.
Okay.
Where am I going to be in April? Hold on, I got to bring up the list because I don't remember.
Oh, okay. And while you're doing that, I pulled an image of Molly off the web because you can't do anything with your phone there. So I'm gonna do something there. I'm gonna pull Molly up here for you.
Okay.
Actually, while you guys are doing that, I'm actually going to head out because I have deadlines to deal with.
Okay, so wait a minute. Scott, right. Why don't you say arrivederci? They're face to face. There we go.
Okay.
So Scott, you're saying goodbye?
Yeah, I'm saying goodbye. Great meeting all you guys, and had a great time. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Scott.
Oh, thank you.
See you, Scott. Take care.
Bye,
Scott. Yeah, adios. Hasta las vistas and buenos a few de noches.
I can't see my hand.
Okay, bye-bye. So you just sign off. Scott will just sign off. And the band will get a little smaller. There we go. Okay, so we'll go back to Jamal while I'm trying to share Molly here. Go ahead, Jamal. You were saying?
Okay, so hold on. I'm almost there. Like I was saying, I'm still having internet issues, but it looks like it's loading. But you can find all the information on my website, which is jamaligle.com.
Oh, wait a minute. We got a little person in it? Was there a little person in the shot?
Yeah.
Oh, there she goes. The real Molly Danger. Hi.
She looks a lot like me.
Yeah. Do you still have your Molly Danger jacket?
Did you see the back cover? It said my name.
Oh, really? Okay. Do you have your Molly Danger jacket?
I do.
Could you put it on for us?
Well, the patches came off. We got to put the patches back on.
But is the patch on the back, or that came off too?
They both came off because somebody accidentally put it in the wash.
Did somebody? Oh, all right.
Maybe someday later. Okay.
Okay, all right. We'll make sure that happens. Let me put up a photograph of the drawn or the illustrated Molly, since we can't see the original one in her costume. So here's Jamal's creation. How long did it take you to come up with this, Jamal?
I came up with Molly about 10. Well, actually, no, more than 10 years, because I came up with Molly in 2003, so almost 12 years now.
Wow.
Before I was
Wow.
born.
Yeah, before you were born.
Yeah, that's true, but it's more important that you're here now.
When some
Yeah,
teenagers were born.
Okay. Ale.
that's true. Well, you know, Jamal, what you can always do is post your schedule to the Blackjack Knights page, or give it to me, and we't pass it out.
All right. Well,
I'll put it up. Yeah.
it came up. So in April, I'm going to be at the East Coast Comic Con.
I wish you guys could show
That's the
me.
one in New Jersey?
Yeah, that's the one in Jersey. That's the first one. That's April 11th to 12th. And then May, I'll be at Awesome Con in Washington.
Yeah.
Fanboy Expo in Knoxville, Tennessee in June. Heroes Con in July. San Diego, Heroes Con is in June also. San Diego in July. Tampa in July. Baltimore in September.
I hope you're getting plenty of frequent flyer miles.
I hope so too.
Well, I will possibly see you at the one in the Meadowlands in mid-April. Then I've got Kids Comic Con at the end of April. We might see each other at Awesome Con, but we'll see.
Right.
I just want to switch over here for a moment to Tim, because Tim has something up on his screen.
Hey.
So Tim, what are you up to? Because I realize that you're drawing too.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where you could. I'm hearing everyone talk, and it's wonderful to see you guys work. And then I'm jealous of John, because John's been sitting up there drawing too. So I said, hey, let me join in, and that's what happened.
We'll have to do a show where you and John and maybe another person who likes to do this sort of thing, we can show some techniques, really focused on that, because I think this is really fascinating to see how you work. And I have some sense of it from watching you work on the Blackjack story, Goliath Must Die, and John from what he's been doing. So I think it would really be fascinating to sort of maybe have the two of you on the show and watch and look at your different approaches or similar approaches depending on the property that you're doing. But this is really nice. This is nice. Did you just draw this?
You're talking to me?
No, Tim, I'm talking to me. Yes, I'm talking to you. Did you just draw this?
Oh, this was for the coloring book for BCAF of the Black Arts Festival. And I don't know if they're going to use it, but I had to do it, and since they might not use it, I figured, hey, let me color it now.
Okay.
It get color if it doesn't go in the children's book. So I said, hey.
Well, it looks like a nice pinup as far as I'm concerned, so I'm happy for that.
Good.
Let me just go back here. So Jamal, because I'm going to let you go in a moment, because as I said, now it's at 8:45. Now this thing's actually supposed to end at 9 between here and Facebook. So I said I would give everybody a chance to talk about what they're doing. So you want to take it? Because since you're on your phone, I want to be able to free up your phone.
Okay. Well, I'm putting together the Kickstarter for Molly Book 2, which I've already started outlining, and I to get back to outlining and actually writing the script. But
do you have to write, huh?
Yes, I have to write. I have to write. So I'm doing that, but I'm also working on a couple of different things. One that hasn't been announced. That's a comics project for a company that I haven't worked for a very long time. And the other is just doing some ad work as well.
Because you're an illustrator.
Because I'm an illustrator, amongst other things. And then of course I'm also the marketing director of Action Lab Entertainment, which is the publisher of Molly, along with a line of other all ages, mature readers. We cover the gamut. We do everything. Titles, and I'm busy. I'm a busy,
yes,
busy
you are.
guy.
And I don't feel sorry for you one damn bit.
Oh, no.
Well, please give my best to the family, which I have not seen in a while. I think we saw it at Awesome Con was the last time I saw you guys, so that was in
Probably,
April
yeah.
of last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to change that because as I get older, I'm really not thrilled that I spend more time with people I don't like. So I'm going to change that. So I hopefully we'll see each other in the next couple of months here in New York since we're both in the same city.
It would be nice.
Okay. All right. I'm going to let you go because you're on your phone. And then I'll
night,
sort of
everybody.
segue out of the other folks too. I'm sorry. What did you say, Jamal?
He said good.
Good night, Jamal.
Good night,
Oh,
Jamal.
okay. Good night. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so that's Jamal and Chris. Let's do a quickie on City of Woe and City of Sin, which you have behind you.
Well,
And you and Liz can talk
I've been
about
doing
that since.
I've been doing some blackjack artwork.
That is. That's the guy right there, man.
I'm a minimalist. Is what. So I have. Well, we have some work that we can talk about, Alex. What do you say?
Well, I want you to talk about City of Sin and Woe first because
well, here's
we
the
have
cover for
images
City of
there.
Pain. It's the sequel. This was the prologue. City of Woe is part 1. Here's
Wait a minute,
part
I'm going to help
2.
you out. I'm going to help you out here. You don't have to do that because I'm going to put it on here. I'm going to share it so you can talk, and I'm going to bring it up on the screen.
Well, you and I are working on well, there's City of Woe. That came out. It won Best New Voice in Fiction from the Independent Book Publishers Association. Hope to follow that up with City of Pain this year. We hope to get it out. I'd love to see it out late March, maybe early April. We're just finishing up a little editing.
So say that one more time. What are the dates you're looking for?
We're looking to put out City of Pain no later than very late March or early April. Things are going well, but we want to make sure we give it enough time to get it all perfect.
And City of Woe, when did that come out?
One more part to that trilogy. What?
When did City of Woe come out?
It came out in 2012. We actually put out City of Woe first, and some of the feedback we were getting, I was getting online, was requesting background on the two characters, Detectives Mallory and Gunner. So I put a couple of short stories out, then I added to them, building up to City of Woe. So City of Sin is the prologue, but it actually came out after City of Woe. And those short stories build up to City of Woe, and then City of Pain takes place about 8 months after City of Woe ends, and then we'll have one more part, City of Love, and that's
Okay.
I still have to write that one.
Now, hang on a second. I'm going to just switch over to Liz for a moment because, Liz, why don't you talk about your part in the City of Woe and Pain?
She gives us the look.
Yeah.
Those are mine. I love your background because you're sitting with my work right behind you.
And I'm going to cut back to that.
That's really better. I'm surrounded by
No, it's like, this is perfect. Can you always look around like that? Every picture should be like that. That's great. Yeah, no, it was a blast, and especially when Chris won that award, which is unfortunate that you weren't there that night, but I was really happy to accept
Mom
it.
got
It was really
real
great.
sick, and Liz picked it up.
Yeah, I was there.
Now,
And,
Liz, what did you do for Chris? What was your part of this?
Well, we talked about his concept, what he wanted to get over, and it just developed from there. And the way I usually work with mostly designs, I'm not the kind of person.
I'm going to cut in for just a second. She's talking about the cover.
I'm talking about the covers.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, of both of these books, actually all three, but these. But usually when I do any kind of work, I'm not the kind of person who runs off and even do thumbnail sketches right away. I usually think about it a lot and try to ask a lot of questions. And then I started going, and I think I had done one preliminary one of City of Woe, and then I got some feedback and went from there. And I don't really know I don't know how I came up with the whole thing with the smoke. You know, Chris and I have talked about that. I really don't know where that came from, but Chris loved it, and so we tried to put that into the others, and you know, use that shadow motif.
So let me focus this a little. Let me focus a little bit for the people who may not know how the process works. Chris, having written the book and having obviously an image in his head of what the story was about and the tone and the feel that he wanted on the cover, then had a dialogue with you about what he kind of like, he thought the idea might be like, or what he might want to see, or what kind of feeling he wanted to come off the cover.
He had something like a little bit more developed than those stick figures.
right, there you go.
A little bit better.
And then your job was to take the elements, i.e. the title of the book, his credit, his name on there, and then whatever the copy is going to be on the top to sort of the teaser or quotes or whatever, and figure out with an image how all that comes together to create an attractive package.
Exactly, and that one I created, this one is created totally in Photoshop. The other book was Photoshop as well, but I actually found a you know, an image from a photo house. Oops, sorry. Ah.
What happened?
I lost.
Oh, your earpiece.
I lost my yeah, I lost this. Yeah, I actually on the city of I'm trying to think now. Not of Pain, the other one.
City of Woe, or
no,
Sin.
The City of Sin. Excuse me. We had talked about, Chris and I had talked about a little bit of using that same shadow motif for the prequel, and that I found in a stock photo, but I heavily manipulated it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm still here. Yeah, we're still here. No, hadn't lost you. I did lose Chris.
I lost Chris.
Okay. Well, you know what? It's getting towards the end of this, so maybe the technology is starting to fade. And it was supposed to be. I was supposed to have somebody else here, and Stephen Harris was supposed to join us, and I don't seem to see him. But he never was able to join us either, which is sort of distressing. But go ahead. What were you saying?
I'm sorry, I've lost my train of thought now. But no, I mean, I showed him something, and then the second image of the first book, like City of Woe, I mean, he was, we were almost there, and then I just made some modifications from there. And then I had to help him because he had it, self-published through Amazon. So I worked through the account that he had set up. And in the second book, City of Sin, I actually did the layout for the interior as well, and then uploaded that also to Amazon, and shepherded both of those books through the process. Okay, and that's what I assume I'll be doing with the last one, the third one.
Right. So you'll be working with Chris on that.
Yeah.
Graphic designers. Sometimes a lot of people talk about the illustrator. They'll talk about the writer. They don't talk about the graphic designer. And in comic books or in the publishing industry and in packaging and all of those things, how a package looks, how the cover or the wrapping, the design of it looks, is paramount to the sales of the property. Because if something doesn't look visually attractive, a lot of times people will just walk right by it. Right. So the graphic designer is key. How you put your elements together is absolutely key in marketing your property, whatever it may be. Now, as I said, again, it's getting close to quitting time, so I'm going to just John, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I had first thing is I want to totally agree with that. And Liz, I love the Blackjack logo. By the way,
Thank you very much.
I teach graphic design, so I totally. Okay. Yeah, and I really love the piece. It's a great mark. I just want to share a couple of projects, and I'm gonna get up out of one of the projects that's out right now from Rosarium is this piece called Kid Code Channel 0, which will be on sale at the Black Comics Festival at the Schomburg. It's like Parliament Funkadelic and Green Lantern and Doctor Who. It's like Doctor Who, Parliament Funkadelic, and like Green Lantern had a kid. That's what. Yeah, and
that's
this is
exactly what it's like.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Chris, you're there, or was that Tim?
That's Tim.
Oh, okay. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, so this is actually a T-shirt design that Stacy Robinson and I did. It's myself, Damian Duffy, and Stacy Robinson. And this is an image I did of the character. And let's see, and also from Rosario, I'm working on this piece called Blue Hand Mojo. It's one of my pet projects. That is, again, I love the mashup idea. So it's like if John Constantine and Easy Rollins had a kid. It's a 1930s hoodoo man, and he's the fictitious cousin of Robert Johnson, and he's basically trying to, barter for his soul, in the 1930s. So it takes place in Chicago. And yeah, that's just the character. So those are two projects I'm working on right now, both from Rosarium Publishing, and I'll be there representing these pieces and also the show itself. And I think that's it. I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys.
Well, thank you, John. Really, I appreciate you coming on and staying on and being here and everything. It's great. And then showing your work. And Tim, you too. Chris just said he got knocked off somehow. I resent the invite so he can come back on and say his arrivedercis. But either way, again, I want to thank you. It's 8:56, so it's a good time to say adieu. But or I do, if you do. Yeah, if you do, I do, and we'll do it together. But really, no, it's been great. And again, as I've said a couple of times during the show, thanks to everybody for just being the support that you have been over the years, from a friend from high school sticking by me through all of this, to the new people who've come on board and who've squeezed in the project in between very, very hectic and frenzied lives, relocating to a whole nother city, new jobs, family matters, corporate gigs that are taking you other places, different countries. Joe Bennett, who did a lot of the work on the original series, lives in Brazil, and so it was a real hoot to be able to work with him in that country and to have that come together. But then what was even stranger, and I'm going to just bring that up if I can, if the software will let me, then I'll just bring up a picture that I want to share. Because one of the things that happened when I started doing Blackjack, when I had the original concept, was people would say to me, naysayers would say to me, it's only going to appeal to kids or adults or whomever in Watts, in Bed-Stuy, in places where there's an urban population, but nobody else would get it. And obviously, we didn't believe that. We didn't buy into that, and we kept going, and we got the book out there. And within the first few months, aside from really great response from the critics and so forth, we also were in a situation where we were getting fan mail literally from Cairo to Copenhagen. So, the design. Oh, I see. So I think Stephen just joined us, and I don't know why we weren't able to get you before that, Steve. I'm going to mute you just enough because I think you're hearing me talking. So anyway, what I'm showing people online right now is an image of Joe Bennett's original Blackjack cover, the first issue of Blackjack. Liz Sheehan's logo for Blackjack up at the top, the name. But now you'll notice a little icon next to it, and if you try and read Second Bite of the Cobra underneath, it looks like Tweak Beat Van Dieck Cobra, right? Because this was the first reprint of the book in Holland, and by a company called Lone Gem Publishing. And Geert, G-E-E-R-T, is the publisher. He reached out to us, loved the story, decided to go for it, and published all 3 issues out there, and we got some really nice reaction from that. He also, prior to that, had published a story that was illustrated by Steve Ellis called Blackjack Color of Courage, and again got great response. So we're talking about Holland, Amsterdam, a portion of Europe that is eclectic, but again is not known as the quote-unquote hub of the black experience. So a lot of times what happens is people sort of have a shorter vision than you might. And it's great when people like John and Liz and Stephen and some of the others. And Stephen, I'm going to give you a chance here because I'm really sorry that somehow we weren't able to get you here sooner. It's great when people like that and Scott and all these folks come together and make it possible. So, you know, again, thank you for all of that. Now, Stephen Harris is in the house, and for some reason we had trouble getting connected before. I don't. Were you getting the invites? Can't hear you. Steve, is your mic on? Say something again.
Yeah, he's muted, I think.
I haven't muted him. Oh, this is Maddie's rocket. That's Tim. But Steve, we're not hearing you, and we heard you this afternoon when we practiced.
Oh man, he's.
Oh, now we lost him.
We lost him. Well, they said. I mean.
Oh no, he's back.
No, that's just me.
Steve.
Oh, that's Matt.
Steve, can you hear me?
Matt.
That's Matt.
Steve
Yeah, that's my
there
engineer.
right
Yes.
No, he's sideways. That's crazy. Like,
it's okay if he's sideways, and we could just hear him.
It's just odd. There he is. I'm like, what's going on?
Steve, say something.
Steve.
Nope. Not hearing you at all. Can you see me? He waved, kind of, so, but I think there's a long delay there.
Can he see chats?
I don't know. I think we're gonna have problems with this. Here, I'm gonna switch back to Tim, so we can see what Tim's doing while we try and figure out what Steve's doing. Yeah, you just wrote to him in chat, and we'll see if that happens. All right. So you know what? For this, Tim, are you still there?
Yes, I am. I can talk
about Maddie while we're trying to figure this other thing out.
All right, cool. I'll make this real quick. Maddie's Rocket is a retro Afrofuturism comic.
We just lost the image of you.
Okay, that's because I have my screen on.
Oh, thank you.
Right now.
Don't do that to me because it's black. All we got is black screen. There we go.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Is that Steve?
Nice.
Is that Steve?
No, it's me. Steve's still not.
All right. I was wondering if he was back. Okay. Anyway, so Maddie's Rocket is the first publication of Diesel Funk Studios. We will be premiering at the Black Comic Book Day and the Black Comic Arts Festival in San Francisco. So we're going to be doing the bi-coastal thing. My wife and I will be doing the same thing John is doing.
You've gone black again. No offense. When you don't stop sharing, in other words, you have to cut off stop sharing. Otherwise, what we see is a black screen.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Stop sharing. All right. So let me stop here. Okay. All right. And you guys should.
There. Now we see.
All right. So Maddie's Rocket. I'll make it real quick. Maddie's Rocket is about the adventures of a young lady named Maddie Waddy, who is loosely based on Bessie Coleman, who was a black female airplane pilot in the early 20s.
Real.
Yep, her and a mixture of Tubman. And it's basically a story that takes place with this main character who comes into ownership of a rocket ship in a world that is very similar to the world of Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon, but that world is still very much mired into the world of Jim Crow. So it's about trying to tell that type of story, heartwarming, not taking it too seriously, but wanting to bring my love of Frank Capra, It's a Wonderful Life, Jim Steranko, James Bama, The Shadow, Orson Welles, and Greg Toland, the cinematographer, and I want to bring all those elements in my love of black and white movies, my love of, unfortunately, Ted Turner colorized black and white movies. I want to do all of that.
Oh.
I'm sorry. We can use a fusion of it. I know it's against the thing, but I think I can make it work. And this book will be our first book coming out next week. and it's been a ball doing it. We're already at work on issue 2 and 3. It will be coming out quarterly, so expect at least 3 to 4 issues this year. And we're ready to rock and roll. I'm very, very proud to be doing it. Thank you to John Jennings and the whole Black Kirby crew for kind of like pushing me off the ledge to do it, because I've been trying to do animation for a very long time. Hey, there he is. Is he here? Okay.
No, you just keep talking.
Okay,
Steve's
okay.
there visual.
Yeah, so, hey.
We still can't hear him.
Yeah,
No, that's my screen. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I will say this: the Ajala thing here. I'm going to tell you, I contributed to this thing through Indiegogo as well. That's a great project. Steve or Robert and Steve are doing. It's absolutely fantastic. That guy's been begging. Oh my God! The first time I saw Steve was 1992, and he's a great cartoonist. He's been doing it for years. He stuck to it. He has a lot of power in his lines, in his drawing, and also a very good family man too. He and Bianca are wonderful parents, and they're doing their thing. And that brother's doing it up with Robert. Robert, there he is. Oh, whoa, hey, how's you on the thing there?
There you go.
You know, so that's it. And they have this Indiegogo campaign. Just the great thing about Indiegogo is that it's not like Kickstarter. Whatever you got, you got. So it's not like if you fail at it, you don't get anything. You get something. And these guys are trying to do their trade. They've been banging away. I'm sorry, I know, Steve, can you hear me? If you can't hear me, I can keep talking. If you want me to keep telling you, okay, I'll keep going. All right. So that's what's happening. Steve has been doing their thing. This guy's at kids' Comic Cons. I've seen him at New York Comic Con. He was nominated for an Eisner last year. And he was nominated and won at ECBAC, East Coast Black Age of Comics, and was very gracious on stage as well, I might add. He's a vet. He's a pro. He's done Voltron, right? Voltron? Yep. Yes, yeah, I think he's done Voltron, and he's out there doing his thing. He's BLACKJACK, so everybody here is BLACKJACK. So that's I will allow now Alex to take it. I think did I cover most of it?
I think you did good. It gave me a chance to throw up these images here.
Okay, great.
Please go to Indiegogo, folks, and we'll put the link up on Blackjack Adventures on Facebook. I'll find a way to get it up here. I know Steven, you're on Google, so you can put the link up somehow, some way. Go to a page and do that. But we'll try and here, John Jennings has it up here on the screen.
Yeah,
it's worthwhile, and you can see the artwork. This is not. We're not talking crayons here and brown paper bags. We're talking about some serious work and commitment to a quality in a story. And I think one of the things is a lot of people ask for better representation. Whether it's a culture or a race or a gender, and then when someone does a property that represents properly, if we don't support it, then there's no reason to keep trying. Is that the message? I don't think so. I think the message is support, period. You want it, you want the change, you want better representation, make it happen and support it when it happens. So we're all behind you here, Steve, and again, technology is doing what it's doing, but we still got your back.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I brought it up. It's a wonderful project.
Okay. Now my son here, my son who's been monitoring me in the other room, going, Dad, says that there are actually some questions on. So, Matt, speak up. How many questions do we actually have?
No, we have a few for all of you guys.
Oh, hello.
Hello there.
So,
Hi, Matt.
throw the questions out.
Real quick, first one from Marco. We had this a while ago. You guys were just busy doing your thing. He said, for someone who is new to Blackjack, where should they begin?
Okay, it's a Blackjack question. How'd that happen?
Yeah.
I actually have tried to write the stories so that they can stand alone, but they connect. So you could start, obviously, with the very first story, which was Second Bite of the Cobra, which actually does start with his childhood, a little introduction in his childhood, and then into the adult adventure that he has. But at the same time, you can easily go to Amazon.com now, and pick up an issue of the new anthology, which is Blackjack Buried Secrets, which the book is published by myself, and also Chris Ryan, who's unfortunately somehow lost a connection. He hasn't been able to get back on. But Chris's company, Seamus Nunzio, they co-published that with me. So there's a Kindle version, and there's also a print version of Blackjack Buried Secrets. Then we're coming out with, and I'll put that up in a moment, we're coming out with a new anthology, a new collection called Blackjack Shooters. And that's going to be coming out in just the next few days. And also, they can get that through Amazon, CreateSpace. The Kindle version will be available maybe in another 2 weeks or so. But if you go to our Facebook page, Blackjack Adventures, on Facebook, we're constantly updating what's going on. So you can start with either the two anthologies, and then as you in July of 2015, Dover Publication is reprinting as a graphic novel Blackjack Second Bite of the Cobra. So between now and July, you can get the anthologies. You can get Blackjack Goliath Must Die, which is the book that Tim Fielder has beautifully illustrated, and we had some images up earlier of that. And then by June, I suspect there's going to be another anthology out, which Chris and I are working on right now. And then come July, you'll have the reprint of Blackjack Second Bite of the Cobra through Dover Publication as a graphic novel. So hopefully that'll answer your questions. And again, check into either the website, blackjackadventures.com, or the Facebook page, which is far more current. Facebook is Blackjack Adventures as well.
And then, real quick, while we have everyone here, you guys are all experiencing some sort of differentiation or like hardships in the industry. We have a question.
Challenges?
Yeah, challenges in the industry. What do you think of the current evolution of diverse representation in comics? Does it feel genuine or forced?
Okay, so we're going to give that to Tim.
Yeah,
first.
I'll make it quick. I think there has never been a better time to publish. The representation for people of color, for women, has never been as dynamic. Not saying that there are not issues, but it has never been so dynamic as it is now. You can get your stuff out. Miss Marvel, it's just everywhere, and it's great. And we're never going back to the way it was. We're here now. We're able to publish. We're able to publish on Kindle. We're able to publish on iOS. We're able to do print on demand. Thanks to John for pointing me out to Lightning Space and Ingram. It is a wonderful time for people who have not been represented to get their stuff out. So for lack of a better term, but the pity party we used to swim in, that's over with. It's our time. We're going to start making this thing happen. Women, people of color, a queer community, we're all here. We're going to make it happen right now.
Exactly.
Okay, what you want to add to that, either John or Liz?
I'll say right quick that as far as like the forced piece, I don't necessarily think that it's a forced diversity. I think that it's a response to just the to the zeitgeist as Tim is talking about. Marvel has been championing the cause for like diverse characters. There has been a lot of pushback because, like, for instance, with the Black Captain America, Sam Wilson, for instance, which has been in the news quite a bit, the default has always been Steve Rogers, the straight white male character, which probably will probably pick up the mantle again in the future. Everyone probably knows that, but the thing about the corporate structure is that they have to actually respond to show like that they can kind of be flexible, but at the end of the day, they also are an institution for a reason. But as Tim was saying, we don't necessarily have to buy into those spaces. A lot of people still just want a black Superman or a black Batman. Well, that's fine and good, but we also have Blackjack. We also have Maddie's Rocket. We also have Jenny Death, which is a piece I'm working on a little bit, which is for the queer community. Yeah, so there's a response to the dearth of images that have been out there, and I think it's going to get better. And I think that spaces that we're trying to create, like these cons, and also the wonderful publications about analyzing the work, is growing as well. So yeah.
Exactly. Liz, did you want to say anything?
Well, I'm not really the best person to speak to because I'm not quite as involved every day as you people are with graphic novels and comics. That means nothing. Well, but I've kind of dipped my toe in, even though because I'm involved more in the broader publishing. But you did mention in terms of now with the advent of self-publishing, a lot more people can get to the forefront, like Chris Ryan and other people. And you mentioned Lightning Source, and I've worked with them, and I did a book with somebody, and I'm doing another book now, and they're probably going to have Ingram Spark do that one. This is a memoir. Someone's just for a person. So the diverse voices are out there. Whether it's people of color, women, people with disabilities, or again the gay community. I think
life choices, whatever. Yeah.
Right. It's like now everybody can get their voice out. They don't have to rely on the same publishing venues that we did 15, 20 years ago.
That's right.
You're not going to say, oh no, we're not interested in that. Like take it somewhere else. You can say, hey, I'm going to get out there and see what happens.
You can do it.
And again, and I'm going to, again, because I'm conscious of the time, we're now over time, but that's okay. One of the other things, too, just in looking at this gathering tonight and the story behind the story, is that it has taken a village to make the property that we've been talking about tonight happen. And that village has been extremely diverse. Brazilian, African American, Asian, as in I don't know whether it was the Philippines or French Canadian. It's just been a plethora of people from different cultures and backgrounds bringing their expertise, life experience, and skills together to create a globe-trotting hero who happens to be black. When I started out trying to write this story, it wasn't that I was writing for a black audience. I was creating a hero who's black for all audiences. That was my mindset, to tell a good story and attract as many people as possible. And I think it would not have been as successful as it has been with all the challenges if I'd either gotten caught up in, oh, well, they don't want, we're not entitled to, I can't work with people who aren't the same as, or any of that nonsense. It would have been a completely different experience. I think one of the things that women, people with different life choices, different cultures, whatever it is, one of the things we have to understand is we all came into this world with a certain energy, with a story to tell, with a life to live, and no one has a right to diminish our ability to be who we are. So ultimately, once we commit to that, whether we run with the pack or we cut our own path, be who you are. Collaborate with the people you want to be with, make the best of your existence, and if you're an artist, reflect life. Reflect it in the fantasy or in the reality, but reflect it and just be true to yourself. And again, I think that with the help of all the wonderful people I've been here with tonight, I've been extremely happy with the end result of the material I've put out, and I only hope that I'll be able to continue to do this even better, more efficiently, with whatever years are left of me, because that's what makes me happy. Okay, so I'm going to actually say it's time to say goodbye. And Stephen, I'm still sorry we never got to hear your voice. We're going to have to find out what happened and try and get you back.
Yeah.
Get you back. Again, we have the technology. We can do a show like this, not as long. We can do an hour-long show, a half-hour show, whatever, and really start to actually have a good time talking about the arts, talking about the creative experience, talking about cultures, whatever. So I think you'll be seeing us again, either in mass, like this, or maybe one or two of us at a time.
Right.
Okay, so everybody say arrivederci, whatever you want to say quickly, and then we're going to say goodbye.
Okay.
We'll go left, right. Liz?
Okay. Well, it's great being partaking in this, and I want to say something just really quickly. You mentioned it about 15 minutes ago, but I was thinking it's too bad Bill McKay is not on this, but I remember that one of the opportunities that I got through working with you, particularly on Race Against Time, if you remember, Bill and you let me and Bill write some of the material for one of the editorial pages on Race Against Time. We had that map of London, and we had a great time coming up with all these puns. And so not only did I utilize my drawing and artistic skills, but I got to a little bit of my writing in. And so it's great that you get a bunch of people together, and in this kind of atmosphere, you can stir the pot, see what happens. So it's just too bad he's not on here too, because that was a lot of fun. So I thank you for that.
We love you, Bill. Sorry you weren't here, but we'll get you. We'll get you next time. John?
Yes, I just want to say thank you for having me and everyone, and letting me share my process and my anecdotes about blackjack. And I'll see, I guess, most of you at in New York in next week.
There you go.
Sure.
That sounds good. And those who happen to be looking at this from the West Coast, you'll see him out there the same weekend.
Because I'm crazy.
He's going to clone himself. Yep. Okay. Stephen can't say anything. Tim?
Yes, I will be along with John, actually, at the Schomburg on the 17th, along with Alex. We'll be sharing the table with Diesel Funk Studios, my company, and then my wife and I, Melanie, will be jetting bi-coastal to San Francisco. Already got our tickets and the table, and we will be selling on Martin Luther King the weekend.
Yes.
It's a lot of things, but Maddie's Rocket comes out. It's www.mattiesrocket.com and dieselfunk.com. We're going to do a site design. We're going to bring it all. And we're going to make it happen. We're going to make it happen. Thank you.
Okay. And I'm going to do this for Stephen. I'm going to say, Stephen, thank you. Again, sorry that it didn't work out the way we wanted to, but please, everybody, think about the Ajala campaign. It's on Indiegogo. John, at one point, put up the URL for it, but I'll post it again on the Blackjack Adventures page on Facebook and on my main page as well on Facebook. And anybody else who can grab the link and share it. Once again, make the reality happen. Make it happen the way you want it to, and support those who are trying to do it for you. And then I'll also say that I'm just hitting the stop thing so you can see my face. Thank everybody who joined us on Facebook too. I was only on there for about a half hour, but I most assuredly want to say that it was a sign of love. It was a sign of love, and it was a great gathering. And I hope to do this again, maybe on a smaller scale, but I certainly hope to do this again over the coming months, because there'll be a lot more things coming out from Liz, John, Chris, Stephen, Tim. We're all going to be out there doing great stuff for you. So thank you for joining us, and peace.
Peace.
Good night.
Bye,
Good night,
everybody.
all. Bye.